So now let's get started on shading in the body. Very, very simple as well. No need to get too complicated with that as well. So let's start from head to toe. Let's shade in our head or our hair first. Draw in our little highlights if you want to. That's just the only way they can tell where your highlights are going, so be sure to add them. If you don't want to, then I'm not sure where your highlights are going to be, but it's easier to add them if you're a beginner. And then I'm going to just shade them in one value, because you don't want to go multiple values all at once. You want to go one first and then darken if need be. When I think of outfits as well, I prefer contrast and shape language as well. So when I design my outfits, I make sure that there's it's not too sleek, that there's some kind of shape difference. So that's why I add a lot of fluff on her dress here, just because there's a difference in silhouette. I didn't add it just because she's a cat, cat girl. I added it because it just looks nice and aesthetic compared to just making it, just a strap, right? So here's our satin bow, which will be dark, then light, then dark again. If you want to add a little bit more darkness to the back of the hair, go ahead and do that by just making it a little bit darker. And then add some extra strands of darkness if you need to. That'll just give it some more value to it. So then what you want to do for the, when it comes to shading in, fluff, for example, I like to make sure that there's a light, dark pattern. So for instance, the bra will be a lot darker than the fur itself, because I want it to stand out. So it also gives it a nice kind of bit of contrast. So I shade everything first. Same with both the top and the bottom, or her skirt. So notice that everything's very even. We will add value later. I need to change my lead again. Her mittens will be the same darkness. And notice that the hatches are so close together that they become one smooth value. It's best if you shade like this, because it just looks smoother in general. And then here I want it to be kind of metallic, so I'm making it super dark and then super light with a little bit of in-betweens, and then light again, and then dark, so it's kind of like a little pattern. So that kind of looks more like a metallic feel. Here I'm going to shade in more towards the folds. And kind of just fill in these shapes. And I'm also adding a little bit of shadow of the fur covering on top of her, on top of the cloth here. And this is just for extra depth. And by this point, you're pretty much done, except for maybe the tail here. So I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the tail. When it comes to dark things in front of other dark things, I like to make the back, whatever's behind the first object, lighter. And then I go darker. So I like making this stand out first, so I make this darker, and then the tail will be a lot lighter. If you want to add a little bit of value on the arms, you don't really need to at this point, and I don't really add a lot of value to the skin unless it's absolutely necessary. I'm also adding little pockets of darkness along the corset, by the way. But if I had to, I would just go very, very light. Just along the arms. Anywhere, if there's fur on top of the skin, I add the fur. That there's a little bit of shading underneath the chin or underneath the neck, I would add it there. Just very, very lightly. But anyways, that's pretty much it for this. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.